All right, guys, welcome back to the first episode, technically, of EHC Unfiltered, previously SPG Unfiltered, but we're going through a little bit of a rebranding. But today I've got someone who's right in the trenches of fatherhood and fitness. The reason I can say he's in the trenches is because he was a fellow Marine Corps vet as well, which was super awesome to find out when we started chatting. I was excited about that. It's always cool running into someone else who served, but it's extra cool when it's another Marine. Um, but welcome to the show, Nathaniel.
Thanks
Give
for
us
having
a
me, man.
little introduction of yourself.
Yeah, as you said, I'm Marine. That was half a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
Literally, it was 20 years ago I got out. It's one of those things where when at the time you're going, should I stay in? Should I stay in? And then you get out and you're like, dang, I could have retired. I would have had a pension and all those things. But if I hadn't gotten out when I did, I wouldn't be doing, I don't think, what I am doing now. Like you mentioned, the father, I have 3 kids. A 4 and a quarter, or 4 and 3/4. He'll be 5 in February. This is September right now, and I have a almost 3-year-old and an almost 1-year-old. So we are in the
Yeah, you,
trenches
you
as
got your
far as
hands
kids
full.
go.
You got your
Yeah,
hands full.
and then I'm a real estate investor. That's what I've been doing for 7 years now. What is it? 25, 25, yeah, 8 years now.
It's almost
And a health and
2026.
wellness coach for dads. Just, it's what we're doing is very similarly aligned. I'm more, strictly focused on helping dads out just because that's where I find the most kind of need, if you will, and
Yeah.
passion is helping dads take control of their health and wellness and becoming those leaders for their families. Like, you know, in the past 5, 8 years, we've heard a lot about women, and good.
Hmm.
Like, women have had a back seat for a long time. But now, like, men need to be uplifted and empowered as well. We've kind of taken a back seat in a sense, and let's even it out. Let's give those guys a place because without strong fathers, we're creating a weak generation to come.
Absolutely. And man, I love the tagline, fitness that fits fatherhood. Um, that tagline tells me that this came from a lived experience, obviously, not just theory. Uh, so let's back it up a little bit. Like you said, you were running actually a successful real estate business at a point, correct? And
Yeah,
then,
still.
uh, oh, still even better.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
were you, hitting that point where you were kind of burning out, missing time with your kids?
yeah.
Walk me through what that was like the moment that you realized like things had to change.
Yeah, so real estate investing comes in a lot of different forms. There was a point 3-ish years ago where I was a very active on the phones with homeowners, helping them out of situations. And with that comes feeling the need whenever this thing rings to answer it. And so
Absolutely.
at its beck and call. And when you're at that thing's beck and call and you feel like the next deal is just on the other side of that ringtone, you start prioritizing it instead of the things that you're saying matter. And that was my exercise, not so much eating. I was still eating fairly well because Brittany, my wife, was taking
Mhm.
care of a lot of that. But it was, I'm hanging out with the kids and I hear the phone ring and I go, hold on, buddy. I'll be right back. I just got to take this. And when you're doing that kind of a thing, you're showing them what your priorities are. And
Right.
I
I
love the
think,
line. Go ahead. Yeah.
oh, sorry, I was just going to say, I think
Yeah.
that lines up with something I say all the time is that we need to treat text messages more like emails.
Mm,
So I think because of the like availability that we give of ourselves to other people from like text messages and stuff like that, and even responding to DMs like right away, right?
yeah.
Things like that, like it gives us the same like little dopamine hit that you were looking for, like when we get a sale, right? When something like that happens. Cause I was in the sales world for a while. I actually did door to door sales,
Okay.
before the Marine Corps. So I know exactly what you mean about just on the other side. Like it's right there. Um, and it is hard, even as someone who's not a father yet, to just kind of be in the moment a little bit more, look up from your phone, look up from the
Hmm.
ground, just kind of be. Um, so what was the first small habit that you had to change that actually stuck?
It's hard to say. It's really a kind of a culmination of them, but I would say the biggest one is time blocking a calendar and putting the most important things on there and then holding yourself to the calendar. It's like I can put, at 9 a.m., I'm going to exercise. But if 9 a.m. comes around and I'm not looking at the calendar or I just blow it off, what was the point of putting it on there in the first place? So, really taking, for me, faith is such an important part of this. I'm rewalking, over the past couple years, and taking the time to go, what is it that I really, really want? Is it this $1 million business over everything else, or is it the family and the health and all those things along the way? And I like to say, I can build $1 million business, but if in 10, 15 years my kids don't recognize me because I haven't poured into them along the way, I I don't care about the $1 million business. And
Yeah,
so,
if you
yeah,
make it to the destination, but you like forget about the journey, then like what did you do it
yeah,
for?
exactly. And so for me, it is as the time blocking. It's one of the first things I go through with all my clients is, hey, let's take stock in what your priorities are, and then put them on the calendar. And the I love the visual of, I don't know if you've seen this, but a professor comes out with a cup or a jar, and he's got rocks and he's got little pebbles and he's got sand, and he ends up with a beer at the end. And if you put the rocks, the little pebbles and the sand in first, and then you try to put your big rocks in, you can't fit them in. So what we do is we take those big rocks and we put them in the jar first. Those are your priorities. For me, it's, family and nutrition, exercise, faith. Probably should have put the faith first, but I'm still working on that. Thank you. Um,
In
uh,
no specific order. In no
yeah, no,
specific
no.
order.
So yeah. Well, no, in the specific order, just reverse what I said. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. uh, you put the rocks in first, you'd be surprised how much pebbles you can fit in, and then how much sand, and then the professor uses beer, but liquid, just all the other things, and you can think of the other things as you're scrolling, your Netflix, you're joking around, hanging out with your friends, but it's those big rocks that have to go on the calendar first, and then holding yourself accountable to the calendar. So that was long winded, but I think we got there.
Well, that's powerful, and I think that every dad listening has felt that tension between providing and actually being present, like we were saying, which does bring me into my next note here. Uh, most dads listening are probably thinking, I just don't have the time, right? And so that's not one that's, exclusive to dads. That's something that we hear quite often. How do you help dads reclaim their energy and presence without taking hours away from their family or their work? Because, like you said, if the whole purpose of this is so that we can be our best selves for our family, we still have to be there for our family.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like that you said, this isn't exclusive to dads by any means. High performing individuals, let's call them, but be it a a career person, an entrepreneur, a stay at home mom, right? They feel, I can hear them going in there. You know, we all feel like we don't have more time in the day. And so why does somebody like an Elon Musk or, a Jeff Bezos fit all this stuff in when they're running these huge companies is because they prioritize the most valuable things to them and their businesses and their lives. And so what I always start out with is what is called a time audit. We're going to literally write down every single thing that happens throughout the day that we do,
Really?
from getting up and getting a drink of water to scrolling to, 2 hours of video editing or whatever it is that you do. And only when we know what we're actually doing in a given day can we change and adjust things and tweak things along the way. There are people out there that have zero free time, and I feel for you.
Yeah.
But for the most of us, you will look back after doing a week of a time audit and go, holy moly, I scrolled on Instagram without any intentionality for an hour and a half. There's your workout. There's your, 30 minutes with your kids. There's a 30-minute conversation every day with your wife. If, these are the things that you want to do. Most of the time, we're not getting rid of scrolling. You're finding some value in it. You're, decompressing, just entertainment alone. It's just taking those and compressing it down a little bit and inputting those things that you say you value more. And when we start to lead with more intentionality behind our time, we realize, holy moly, you end up finding more time because you're being intentional about it. And so we start with that. And then it's just retweaking our head around what health and exercise and nutrition really look like. I grew up in an age, and we still do, where the fitness industry is telling us you got to go to the gym for an hour and a half. You have to eat chicken and broccoli and nothing else. It's got to be completely bland, and you can't enjoy life. And that's just not the case. Like I do 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day of exercise typically. There are days where I go longer, like yesterday I go play basketball in the morning and that lasts a little bit longer, but
Right, but that's more
typically,
of an enjoyable activity. I
yeah,
love I
yeah.
love for my clients, that's one of the things that I put on every single one of their like to-do lists for the day is do an enjoyable activity. I don't care if it's reading, I don't care if it's going outside and playing basketball or playing with your kid for 30 minutes or whatever it is, just something enjoyable because then you have something to be grateful for every day.
Every day.
Um,
Yeah.
but what's one client story that really sticks with you where, the change in energy completely changed like the family dynamic? And this could be yourself too, because I mean, did you notice a huge shift? I'm assuming, making this change yourself.
More personally for me, I think, than anything else. Well, I think, Brittany came along for the ride in a sense that like, oh, she noticed changes happening. But more
Mm.
for me, just getting more fulfillment out of the time that I have together with them and not ever feeling like they were second priority, second fiddle. I've got a couple that client stories that pop into my head. One is a reason why making the change, and it's yeah. Having a daughter now is now she's almost a year old, but he he was overweight, pushing 300 pounds, struggling to tie his shoes, losing out of breath tying his shoes. That wasn't enough to push him over the edge. He just happened upon an interview with a human trafficker, somebody who is in the business of abducting kids. And the interviewer said the reason or the key indicator that they look at is the father. Does the father look like a threat? And this man sat there and thought about his daughters who are young and said, do I look like a threat? And at 300 pounds, I probably couldn't chase anybody. I probably couldn't stop anybody from doing it. No, I don't look like a threat. And that was enough for him to go, I got to make a change. And he ended up, gosh, he dropped 35 pounds in like 2.5 months. Yeah, that's not typical. But when you're up that high, it's
Yeah,
a
and,
lot
and
of
and
little
that
things.
is like that's sustainable weight loss too.
Yeah.
Um, when you
Yeah.
are at that big of a size.
Right.
But I mean, man, that even thinking about that like gives me goosebumps. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
And it's that thing that like when he's not a client, he's a client anymore,
mm.
but I I don't have, at least in my head, and maybe once I have thousands of clients, this changes, who knows? But uh, just because we're not actively working together doesn't mean I don't want you to still succeed. And so I actually just
Correct.
had a conversation with him a couple days ago. I was like, "Hey, how are you doing?" Well, I've fallen off the bandwagon a little bit. And he said, I got to get back into it for me." And I remind him, "No, dude, you're not in it for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
you're
in
a
it for your
byproduct of
kids.
all this, but yeah, you're in it for those little girls who need you to protect them, if that were ever the case." Hopefully that never actually comes to fruition, but let's make sure that you're set up for that, and
Well, and that's a lot of this isn't about, the sets and the reps and
Mhm.
counting all your macros and stuff like that. It's about how a man sees himself at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
Um, whether it's you just looking in the mirror at yourself and feeling good about what you bring to the table, right? Or if it's how you feel as a protector, a provider, like all of these things, I think, really come together and build just such a strong foundation for why health is so important.
yeah. I mean, bleeds in
Especially,
everything.
when you step, yeah, and when you step into being, a father or even just any sort of, leading role, really, it becomes even that much more important, it
Yeah,
seems.
yeah,
And I know you've said it before, if you don't believe that you can become that leader, the workouts won't matter.
yeah,
So
no,
what
no,
do you mean by that? Because I have a very similar, um, saying and things that I tell my clients as far as whether you say you can or you say you can't, you're right.
yeah, yeah.
So is that kind of the angle you're leaning towards, or do you have a little bit of a different spin to it there?
No, I mean, it is I think it's Ford that said that, right? It is you're the things that we tell ourselves are our reality. And so if I say I'm fat, I'm overweight, I'm lazy, I have no energy, you're right. You're going to be fat, you're going to be lazy, you're going to you're going to have no energy throughout the day. But if we can reframe it to I'm a healthy individual, I eat whole foods, I exercise daily, whatever those things are that get you to take those habits and take those actions, you're going to become that. And so, man, I think I feel like I've already said two things that this is where we start, but this is another thing that like this is week one kind of foundational stuff that we're working on
Yeah.
is reframing that identity around this because like you said, if I can give you the workouts, I can give you the nutrition, I can tell you exactly what to do, when to do it, but if you don't believe that you're the person that can get the results that you want, none of it matters.
Well,
And so it
also
is the
if they
guy
don't,
like
I find that if they don't believe that they can, they just won't do it.
yeah. Yeah.
Like that they say that they struggle and that they don't think they can do it. And it's like, I think they have it backwards. I think most clients, when they're struggling at the beginning, think they can't do it because they keep slipping up. But I think,
Yeah, reframe it.
it's the other way around. Like people don't understand the connection between the psychology and the physiology of the way we see ourselves. Um, and this is something I talk about a lot. And, I'm sure you've seen it on my page and stuff like that. But being, a psychology student and a major and someone who's working towards their master's in psychology with a focus in mental health, everything I look at when it comes to physiology, I just naturally associate it with the psychology aspect of it, right? And I think people blow past that part. Like a lot of people think that this stuff is like woo woo or whatever, as far as like getting sunlight in your eyes, grounding. And when I say
Right.
grounding, I'm not talking about necessarily uh, grounding yourself outside by like feeling grass and stuff like that. While that is a method of grounding, um, just more of like that being present, like we were talking about, identifying your surroundings, where you're at, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, like all of those things get almost put aside by a lot of people, I feel
Mhm.
like. And so they're so focused on the numbers. and on whether it's, the macros or the scale or the calories, um, that they're not even, they almost dismiss the psychological benefits and things that come along with it.
Yeah.
Um, I don't even quite remember how we got there, to be honest,
Well,
but we did.
I I think the woo-woo aspect of it is interesting, and I think that you're really plugged in because of what you're studying in school, and I'm fortunate in a sense that the communities that I've been in since I've become an entrepreneur have been talking about this, and it's only woo-woo until you start doing it and realizing that it's not woo-woo, that it actually is based in science, and like this thing in here is super powerful.
Yeah,
And I love the ground. I would use the term mindfulness as like being
yeah.
present, and the way you described it, being aware of our surroundings, the smells, the feels. One
Mhm.
thing that I love, and I don't do as much as I used to do, is doing the dishes, because there's so much about that you
You
have
can
the
come do
smell of the
mine.
soap.
You can, you
Yeah.
can come do my dishes,
Well,
brother.
yeah.
They're stacking up.
There's just an element of I don't have anything else to do right now. I got the dishes to do. And there's the warm water or the cold water, depending what stage you're in, the smell of the soap, the feelings of the dishes, the sounds of them clinking together, and all that's going on. And it's 15 minutes of that. And I don't have to, do your
I
best to
will
not
say,
worry
I
about it
will,
too
I
much.
will
Yeah.
say, I notice I don't mind the dishes as much if I still have my headphones on. So like if I come back from the gym and I stay like locked
Okay.
in with my blinders on, then
Yeah.
I'm good. But if
Okay.
there's like external things going on, I can't.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I
Maybe
like
that's just my ADHD self, but
Yeah, I try to get rid of the stuff. Sometimes I'll like, "Oh, man, I haven't listened to this video yet," or, like, put it up on the windowsill, but most of the time, it's just like, be with the dishes. But to each their own. If you're getting the dishes done, that's a win.
as long as they get done.
Yeah.
Uh, but all right, what mistakes do most men make when they try to build new habits? I can speak from personal experience on this one, but
Yeah, a couple of them just popped in my going or trying to change too much at one time, which is a little counterintuitive to all the things that I've said so far, no, but, um no, like, trying to go I'm gonna go from, I'm drinking 100 ounces of sugary drinks today and eating a bunch of Snickers bars, to I'm gonna eat chicken and broccoli all the time. And I use the chicken and broccoli because that's a common example. So, huge drastic change like that. Or I'm not working out at all, to I'm gonna work out an hour and a half every day, 5 days a week. You're gonna get burnt out. So the key here is, and I talked about this on a reel recently, is like, if I wanted to lose 20 pounds fast, I would remove the word fast out. I would take the word fast out of that.
I love
I
that.
If I wanted to lose 20 pounds, because it's not a crash diet, it's not a fad workout. This is a lifestyle change that we're making. And
Mhm.
so we're going to take small little increment and steps to where you get to the chicken and broccoli, which we're never gonna just eat chicken and broccoli unless you're
No,
like
no.
going for
But
some physique competition or some crazy thing like that. And even then I would probably not eat just chicken and broccoli, but we
no, we're
yeah.
still doing some pink salt or some sea salt, some
Yeah.
coconut oil
Yeah.
probably, we're still seasoning our foods, especially,
Yeah.
that's how you survive. But yeah, I think that's great. I think especially with the upsurge lately of GLP-1s.
Mm.
I don't know if you have an opinion on those, but I was actually having a debate this morning about that, um, because I think they're getting pushed way too hard, but that's not what this one is for.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's get tactical for a minute. Um, you've got kids, work, uh, I'm assuming church or some sort of community involvement there. Life's packed. How does a busy dad actually structure nutrition and training around their real life? Because, for someone like me, I have 5 meals a day. all focused around, my bodybuilding goals. And even my meal timing is not the best, and I make my own schedule.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of manage that, or how do you advise, say the single dad of 3 or something like that, um, to adapt it to their real life?
Yeah. It, for a single dad of 3, things become more challenging. Uh,
That might have been
yeah,
a
extreme case,
dramatic
but
example.
there's things that we can do to work around it, and I would give a lot of grace is one thing that I would say there is, and I'll get to the kind of question, or to the answer, is that so many times we set these goals for ourselves, and let's just say it's 4 workouts a week, and life happens and we only do 2. Be that you were sick, your kid was sick, whatever, and now we're down on ourselves because we didn't hit our goal. And that's the last thing we want to do, because when we start to get down on ourselves, that one missed week bleeds into the next missed week, and now we're back to square one again. What we got to do is be able to give ourselves grace for these things. Like, for me, a great example is staying up late working on deals or whatever it is, and going, I normally would get up at 4:45 in the morning, but I was up till 11 last night putting these pitch decks together. Not literally last night, but, like, I was putting these pitch decks together so I could go raise capital for these deals that I'm doing. Would it be in my best interest to wake up 5 hours later? Probably. I'm gonna go to sleep at 11 o'clock or 11:30. I'm still wired from doing this capital raising. I'm not gonna get the best sleep. No, I'm gonna give myself some grace. I'm gonna adjust my schedule. Maybe I'm not gonna do my morning exercise, or I'm not gonna do that extra, meditation time in the morning, but being able to give ourselves grace. Okay. So there's that. Figuring out the times that we have before responsibilities and after responsibilities for me, and fitting in what, like, my highest and most important activities for me to do, that for me it's 7 to 7:30 when the kids are awake typically. Um that makes me the most present, the most loving, caring, responsive, strong dad. And so, for the reason I get up at 4:45 is because that gives me 2 hours and 15 minutes where I can do whatever the heck I need to do. And we're typically going to bed at 9:30, so I got another hour and a half,
I wish I was going to bed at
usually an
9:30.
hour of, like, work time, kind of get whatever the things from the day that I didn't get done, and then wind down for the night so I can get my 7 hours of sleep and be productive the next day. So I don't know how helpful that was. I got lost
It's
after you
it's
shared
gonna
that.
help someone. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I swear. Sometimes with any of these topics, really, it's so
Yeah.
easy to just go, okay, well, here's my train of thought on that.
Yeah.
Like, regardless
The
of if it
squirrel.
even stays connected, because it's all
Yeah.
connected. So
Whether
it's
like,
so
whether you
easy.
like him or not, you have to respect Donald Trump's ability to squirrel away from a subject and then come back.
Come right
He's
back to
just
it.
got an
Yeah.
uncanny ability to do it, whether you like him or not. Like,
Yeah. And I mean, so that's both of us in the last, 30 minutes now have gone,
yeah,
I don't know how we got there, but, we were
right.
talking about something. But
Yeah,
yeah, some people really can do that, can go off on these tangents and then just
yeah,
kind of reach out, grab it, and pull it right back in.
yeah,
And I never know where it started.
yeah, yeah. We
But
get better over time, right? Those are and it's funny that, the mindset thing is something that we're both working on still.
mhm,
And so much of
every
what
day.
we talk about is, I'm talking to myself 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 3 years ago. And sometimes people think, and this is a squirrel, a moment here, like, sometimes people look at, you, me, other people, other coaches, and go, they got it all figured out. No,
Yeah.
I'm just continuing to figure it out. And
Yeah.
I'm
And then
teaching
every
what
day
I'm
it's
doing.
something new. Every day it's
Yeah,
something
exactly.
new. And that's the thing too, is like, I think a lot of people think that we might also position ourselves as like know-it-alls in a
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
But we're supposed to be the subject matter expert. That is our job. Um, and we're never gonna know everything, but the job of a good coach, especially, is the same as, a good salesman, right? What's one of the number one rules is if someone asks you a question that you don't have the answer to, don't lie to them.
Yeah, just
Like it's
completely make it up.
yeah,
No.
yeah, but that's what some people do, or they
Yeah.
give like what they think they have. And I think, I would respect someone so much more if they said, I don't really know, or like this is the first time I'm dealing with this, or anything like that, and they just said, but I'll get that for you. I'll get that answer for you. We'll figure it out. And
Yeah.
because that's really what coaching is anyway, is because yes, we know what works usually. We know what works most of the time for these people in these circumstances. But as soon as you change the person, the circumstances, the hormones, the whatever, everything could be different. I have clients with cyclical vomiting syndrome, which I had never heard of before. And basically it is from what the research has at the moment, it's a stress response. So it's
Interesting.
anxiety, basically changes like the gut brain axis and signals you to get sick. Um, and it's not the same as like making yourself get sick or anything like that. It's usually associated with like panic attacks and things like that, but it's just
Interesting.
wild how even something like that, like you have to approach everything so
Yeah.
much different
Yeah.
than you would with someone else. But I think both of our audiences are full, really, of like you said, high performers, and I think some people overestimate themselves, but most people, I think, underestimate or undersell themselves, because when we say high performers, I think the average person goes, well, that's not me,
Mm.
you know, because I don't
Yeah.
think any of us, we're all our own worst critics, first of all. Um, but like you said, if you are someone who is doing everything in their power to like achieve not only their goals, but their responsibilities, and those who have responsibilities to others, like children, spouses, relationships, whatever it is, that's being a high performer. You don't have to run a business.
Right.
You can still work a 9 to 5. Most of us nowadays can't get by on a 9 to 5. So they're working another job or they're doing a side gig or something. So I think most of us, whether you're a dad, whether you're a single mom, or whatever your situation, the only thing keeping you from being a high performer is exactly what we're talking about right now. It's changing your mindset and changing your lifestyle to accommodate it,
Yeah.
because it has to go that direction. You can change your lifestyle, you can do all the right things, but like you said, if your brain is still locked in that I'm not good enough kind of mindset, then you're not going to enhance, you're not going to improve.
Yeah.
Um,
Man.
I went through that quite a bit with starting everything I'm doing now, is a little bit of that like imposter syndrome. Being like, oh, this is new to me, so this isn't me. It's very foreign. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So it didn't feel natural at first, and I was kind of concerned as far as like, oh man, like what are my friends from the Marine Corps gonna think when they see me posting all these like tacky reels and stuff like that? And then it's like, man, who cares? Like we're all doing our own thing. Like no one really cares. I've only gotten support from people, you know what I mean? But there's always that little voice in our own heads that we have to, overcome,
Yeah.
right? And there's always that self-doubt, but I think part of that is a good thing. I think it's a driving force, to be better,
Yeah.
and I think we always need to be leveling up our standards and beating the logbook in that sense. Um,
Well, like there's a handful of reasons why I say this from what you just said is surrounding yourself with the right people. And we met through ECA, Elite
Hmm.
Coaching Academy, which is a fitness coaching community. And what you said at the top of this was, or what were you kind of were saying at the top of this was about when I don't know something, I'll say, hey, I go find it. There's an element of ECA that is that. Like, hey,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
got all these different people that have been diving deep into biofeedback and physiology and all those things for years now that I can go, hey, this, I forget what you called it, the consistent vomiting syndrome.
Yeah,
What's going
the
on here?
cyclic.
Cyclic, there it is. Yeah. Like, and now I get to lean on this community and somebody in there knows or knows somebody who knows, and now we're all learning together. And then from the, from the uplifting and supporting and holding each other accountable, like that's what you need is the community of people. There's the saying that you are the five people that you're the closest with, or I butchered that, but your circle of influence. And if you're in a community that's constantly going, dude, you shouldn't do that fitness coaching thing. There's plenty of coaches out there. Just gonna become white noise. Get away, right? If you're thinking about making a step towards your health and wellness journey, and you're like, dude, you're fat, you're always gonna be fat. Get away. And sometimes,
Yeah,
unfortunately, it's mom or dad.
absolutely.
It's like ah,
Yeah.
get away from them. But yeah,
But
that
you
was
know
the
what I see also happen immediately after that? Because I've done this interview with a few other coaches from ECA as well. We all feel like the dumbest one in the room, which I
it's
think
very
is insanely awesome because that,
yeah,
that means we're in the right room. You know what I mean? That
yeah,
means we all have a different specialty, um, or something to bring to the table. Uh, I don't think anyone is really seen as really less than or more than other than experience in a specific topic. You know what I mean? Which is how we should see the people we surround ourselves with. Um, but yeah, it is crazy.
yeah. There's an element
Um,
that you bring that up. Like I have been in real estate for a long time. And so by no means do I know everything
mhm.
there is to know about real estate. By no means. And I'm not saying that, but like when it comes to having a real estate conversation, I can have high level real estate conversations. And I know quite a bit about health and wellness at this point because I've experimented on myself a lot. I've done a lot of research, but I get into some of these chats
Yeah,
inside of this community and they're talking just super high level stuff. And I go, oh, this is what it's like to get into real estate, as a new person. Like now I get it. I get it now. And so it's been humbling. It's super exciting because
yeah,
I like every day this thing is getting filled with stuff that I'm uncovering and unlocking inside the community and stuff that I get to go dive deep in and learn about. And we got really derailed right now.
yeah. That's something that I'm still working on too. Is the notes.
Yeah.
Because I was never a natural note taker. That
Mm-mm.
was never my strong suit. So I need to
Yeah.
get better at that.
Yeah.
Even just
Eh,
notes in my phone or something. But
I'm a
that's
tactile. I
what I
like,
love about your approach is that.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no,
You
I was just
tactile
saying
person.
I'm a tactile. Like I have multiple pens, multiple notepads. Some are like just scribble one or two word things, and then other ones are more like kind of a formal. I like to make it look nice. I don't know. It's unlocked.
Oh, I'm a pen thief. If there's a nice pen, I'm gonna
But yeah,
snag
stay
that.
away from this.
If it's in like an office or something, no.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I spent some money on some pens here. Just don't tell Brittany. No, she knows.
Mm,
Uh, I I have this thought, and it's something that I tell people a lot. Is like when it comes to journaling and writing, is that especially from a guy's perspective, I grew up thinking that journaling is a 15-year-old girl. She's got a pink pen with a little foosball on it, and she opens her journal that has a unicorn or a princess on it, and she's writing. And I always use the word Brad when I tell her stories, like, "Oh my gosh, Brad is so cute. He winked at me in the hallway." That's what journaling is, but it's not. And we again, with rewiring the identity, is like rewiring our thought process around what journaling is. Journaling is a way to uplift myself. It's a way to take notes. It's a way to keep stories and thoughts. And it's at the end of the day, it's a way to just offload all the stuff that's going on in the day. That way I can hit the bed, go to sleep at night, not thinking about all these things. So there's so much more. It's not journaling, in that sense. It's note taking and all those other things, but it is a super powerful tool for people as we're moving through these phases of self-development. And I find that when I'm journaling, things are going along. When you stop journaling, things kind of goes a little sideways, and it's
That's that's been the case for me with time blocking,
mm,
because this is all I do. I quit work to do
nice.
coaching.
Yeah.
Um, so I've been obviously diving very deep into this, giving it all I've got. For a while, that was, just work, 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 work. Okay, I'm hungry, eat, go to the gym, come back, work, work, work,
Mm,
work, work.
yeah.
Um, and then I noticed, when I do have those structured time blocks and I actually follow them,
Mhm.
because, having the time blocks are great. Having the notifications with the 15-minute warnings are great, but you need to actually follow it,
Stick to it.
and I mean, that's something that I struggle with. And like you said, we don't preach all of this from like some pedestal. We don't have this stuff all figured out. We're figuring it out day by day. A lot of us coaches do help each other out behind the scenes. Um, and, we do have, a huge community of people who do have such just an abundance of knowledge that surrounds things that I would have never even thought of or
Right.
expected,
Yeah. Yeah, I did not
but
think 6 months ago that I would be learning about mitochondria and
yeah, or
how,
mitochondrial health and like
yeah, and how
how,
impactful it is to everything. Yeah.
yeah, even with what is it, the methylene blue, and how it affects your mitochondria and everything and your
Mm,
like production. I need to look more into it, but I've been trying it personally and it's been pretty great, to be
yeah.
honest.
Okay.
Um, I feel much more focused, much more like awake, ready, like dialed in. I would compare it closest to like a mild Adderall almost,
Interesting.
without like the feeling
So like,
of like being, yeah, I don't feel like
yeah.
I'm on something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mhm.
Um, so that's been interesting. I'm gonna keep researching that and testing on myself because, as we
I
know,
wonder
we're
if
all
this would
we're all
help you
guinea
with
pigs.
the time blocking thing. It sounds like you're kind of getting on the right track with that, and
Yeah,
holding
my
yourself.
girlfriend's helping me right now.
Yeah. Okay. Like holding yourself accountable to is that sports fan? N- No. Okay.
No,
So
I'm not a sports guy.
just like bodybuilding is like, let's say Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to have a lunch with you, and it's on your calendar. Would you miss that for anything?
No, probably not.
No, right? You're not gonna like. I'm not gonna miss the opportunity. For me, it was like Michael Jordan, right? Like I grew up playing basketball. I love playing basketball. Like, would I miss a lunch with Michael Jordan for the world? Heck no, I wouldn't. But I miss appointments that I set with myself all the time. What's more important? Is that lunch with Michael Jordan more important, or is me setting aside the 2 hours and focusing on my 2 hours that I dedicated towards working on my craft more important? Is Michael Jordan really going to move my needle? Is Arnold Schwartz? I mean, maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to move the needle
I mean,
because he's going
I mean, they
to,
both could realistically. I
yeah,
mean, let's talk
teach us some
connections
stuff
here.
fitness wise. But like I think the illustration kind of sticks as like, what's more important, keeping the appointment with myself or keeping the appointment with this other person who really doesn't give a darn about me or my, really my future is like that. When I heard that, it changed some things for me. It's like, oh man, I told myself, I put it in my calendar that this is my time to do this thing. Go do it.
Yep. I told
And of
myself
course,
I
again,
would,
giving
and
yourself
I'm not
grace,
doing
like
it.
things happen,
Yeah, and
things
especially
happen.
like 5-10 minutes, something like that. Like if you're
Yeah.
scheduling yourself like I am, um, if I eat 5 minutes late and I leave the house 5 minutes late, it's not that big of a deal. Um, but absolutely, and it's not always easy to hold yourself accountable. But it is kind of one of those things. Like, would I allow one of my, assistant coaches or my ads manager or anyone like that? Would I let them just
Right.
not be on schedule? No. And that kind of leads into something that I tell people, it's not even that I tell them, I ask them a question, right? And it's, would you let someone else talk to you or your spouse the way you talk to yourself? And because some people would be like, yeah, like someone might talk to me like that and I wouldn't really, but it's like, okay, well, would you let them talk to your wife like that? And it's like, so when you look at yourself and you're like, man, I'm a lazy piece of shit today.
Yeah.
Would you let someone walk up to your wife and be like, hey, you're a piece of shit? Like,
Yeah.
no, that would not fly. That would not be okay, I think, on anyone's book.
Yeah. I like
Um,
that. I'm borrowing that.
no, steal it, run with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But all right, we're coming up on the end of this one. Do you have any final notes for the listeners?
Yes and no. I mean, especially from a fatherhood perspective, and this is more to the new dads, and if you ever go down this route, is you have no idea what you're doing, but you have everything that you need to be successful. And it's the same thing with, embarking on a new entrepreneurial journey or a new health. Like, you have no idea what you're doing, but you have everything that you need to be successful. And all it takes is like little daily actions and daily habits for you to make huge gains over time. You didn't get, the freaking broad shoulders like you have and the biceps and the V cut. Like, you didn't get that by going and doing 1 3-hour session in the gym. You did that because you've spent the last however many years being consistent with your workouts and your nutrition plan. And I use the word discipline loosely here because discipline is systems and processes.
Yes.
And so just kind of reiterating is like, it's not all or nothing. It is about time. It's about being consistent over a long period of time. And that goes with nutrition, exercise, learning things. Like, you're not going to learn everything there is to learn about mitochondrial health in an hour. It's going to take you a long time, and you're going to go backwards and you're going to go forwards and you're going to go backwards again. And so just stick with it. Yeah.
And give yourself grace, like you said.
Yeah, give yourself grace. It's so
Well, all right.
important.
If you want to hear more from Nathaniel or reach out to him, talk to him, Nathaniel, where can the people find you?
Not at the outlet, but right there, yeah. That I have a very unique name, and so if you type it in correctly into any of the social platforms, you will find me.
Perfect. That
Yeah.
works out so conveniently, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for tuning in to EHC Unfiltered. If today hit home, share it with a friend who needs it, or if you're ready to take the next steps, look him up. Look me up at EHC_Steven. You'll find free tools, resources, and ways to connect with me, my team, my friends like Nathaniel. And remember, fatherhood, leadership, business, life, it's not about doing more. It's about building those systems and processes that make you unstoppable. All right. Until next time, stay unfiltered, stay relentless.